Hey there, just a quick reminder, we have a mentorship program if you're looking for personalized coaching and mentorship to help guide you to the next level of your interior design business, whatever that might look like for you, whether it's processes and procedures or what services to offer to how to incorporate wellness, intention, or spirituality into your projects. Come join us over at designcoven.com/join. Or if you're just in search to connect with other like-minded interior designers, you can join our free community, also located at designcoven.com/join. Hello there. Welcome back to episode 104 of the Holistic Interior Design Business Podcast. And I'm super stoked to have our guest today, Lindsey Harris of A Deep Space. This is a dear friend of mine. We've done so many projects and events together, and I recently got to experience her newest creation at A Deep Space, where I experienced hypnosis and breathwork with Lindsey as a lead and really got to dive in deep. Connection with myself, letting some things go, being just aware of some things that I wasn't quite aware of. And so I want all of our listeners here on the podcast to have more access to resources for our mental health, our wellness on a holistic realm, not just for our designers and for our clients, but for us as people. And Lindsey is also contributing to our design magazine, the Design Coven magazine, which will be out late spring, early summer. So she's got a beautiful write-up in there. And if you are a pro member, an in-person pro member, you will have the opportunity to experience A Deep Space with Lindsey as well on May 15th. And if you're not a pro member, you can purchase this event as a one-off event, which is going to be truly, truly magical. And I think something that we all need for our deepest and higher selves. Let me tell you a little bit about Lindsey before she comes on. Lindsey is a clinical hypnotist, certified instructor of hypnosis, breathwork facilitator, and entrepreneur with over a decade of experience in the holistic health and wellness industry. She finds purpose and joy in empowering others to discover and tap into their potential, release fears and insecurities, get out of their own way, and manifest the lives of their dreams. In 2022, Lindsey opened the world's first hypnosis and breathwork studio, A Deep Space. It is on a mission to empower people of all walks of life to optimize their well-being, feel better, and live happier. You can find Lindsey on Instagram, her personal page at Lindsey Janelle Living, and learn more about her offerings at adeepspace.co. I hope you enjoy this episode. I had a beautiful conversation with Lindsey, and it's always a joy to be in her presence. And if you can make it to our event on the 15th, you will not regret it. It was one of the most magical experiences that I've received in a very long time. So hope to see you there and enjoy the episode. You're listening to the Holistic Interior Design Business Podcast. This is a podcast that guides you as a new or inspiring independent interior designer navigating your entrepreneurial path. Here, with my over 20 years experience, I will share my holistic approach to design with intention and ancient practices, including feng shui, all incorporating mind, body, and spirit into my design projects. You will also learn from seasoned interior designers as they give strategies and insight of how they built their businesses and continue to work in the field. Together, we will discover supportive trade partners, new ideas, creatives, and inspiring artists from around the world. I am your host, Rachel Lorraine Crawford. Welcome back to the Holistic Interior Design Business Podcast. I am so stoked because I have a dear friend of mine, Lindsey Harris, a certified hypnotherapist and founder of A Deep Space, on with me. Welcome, Lindsey. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you, Rach. It still blows my mind that you call me dear friend.
I say this to you every
day. So I know that we need to start with opening the space.
We can start here.
I do have to say, and I say this to Rach all the time, but like when I first discovered Rachel's work, which was probably what,
I think
like
like 18 or 17.
2017, I was so obsessed with you. Like, just you're so cool, and I mean, you still are. You're so cool, and you just have this like way about you of you're just magnetic and everything you do. And so I started just like stalking her. I started stalking Rach, and I would follow her around, go to all her like workshops, follow her on Instagram, constantly just like, what is she doing? What is she doing? And then I remember when you invited me to your birthday party, I was like, it was a joke. I was like, finally happening.
Oh my God, you're so funny. Of course.
Sure.
Yeah. We've done so many things together. We've done workshops and then photos. Like your photography is absolutely dreamy and magical. And
That's so
been able
fun.
to connect with you there. Yeah. So now we get to do this. And we've done stuff with yoga with us. And yeah, it's always been.
So many iterations of our careers, our businesses, and I think our relationship, our professional relationship and friendship relationship just continues to grow and evolve. And I love it. It's just magic.
Aw,
Yeah.
thank you. Okay, so we're going to set our stage. So I'm going to light a candle, of course, in connection to the spirit of fire. So creativity, connection, feeling tons of creativity for sure. And then I'm going to pull a crystal card. So we have a card from Bouchette Design. She's also an interior designer that has created these magical crystal cards and tarot card decks and all kinds of things. So we're going to pull a card for us just to kind of see what we need to know for today and our podcast session.
All right, let's do it.
Red Barrel. Passion, balance, and strength. And of course, this is total root chakra, connected to Aries, Leo, Scorpio, Sag. And the affirmation is, I find strength in my uniqueness and passion.
Oh, I love that.
Such a pretty color too. Yeah. I feel I'm usually very airy and all over, and I'm feeling with you and just in this presence of having that groundedness. And I think too it's because of our relationship and the past, so it's not just like, you know, things are sporadic. I feel anchored in, and maybe that's you just holding the space with our bodies and with our minds, because yeah, I can always use that.
I feel that too. And before we started our call, I was just mentioning to Rach that the first time that I was invited on a podcast, it was back when I hadn't done any work, any subconscious work around my connection to my voice. I used to be so scared, so deeply scared of being heard and being seen, to the point of where even in college, in college courses, when we would have to, you know, like the first day you say your first name and your major, whatever, it's a little introduction, I would leave. I would drop the class because I was so scared of being heard. And so the first time I was invited on a podcast, I like shut down and just started crying right when the recording started. And we had to cancel, you know, I didn't even reschedule. I was so scared.
Oh my gosh.
And in this space here and now, I do feel so grounded. And of course, I've done so much reprogramming work, mindset work, and nervous regulation. But there is something to be said for that card that you just pulled and the energy of groundedness here and now. It's so good.
I know. Like I said, it's a different energy. I have not experienced this, so this is really cool. Yeah, I'm excited. And we're going to get into all of that stuff that you were just mentioning for all of you that are like, what the heck is she talking about? Like, what do you mean? Rewiring and what are you talking about? Yeah, because, you know, with holistic interior design, it is about designing people's spaces on a wholeness level, as well as showing up as a whole person and a whole designer. I feel like there's so much. There's like missing elements, especially with going through design school. Like we learn about, design and all the elements and the principles and all this stuff, which I feel like is so outward facing, but nothing inside is ever mentioned in that schooling. And I feel like we get there when we're on our journeys and we're trying to figure stuff out and we're trying to find ourselves. So I'm really wanting to create a space that supports designers on a whole level, as well as our clients. And you coming in today is just part of that piece.
I'm so excited to share this work with your community. And I know that your community is going to grow really quickly because that's just the nature of Rachel Green. And it's so smart, this idea of holistic interior design, holistic anything. It all starts with the person who's delivering the holistic service. And we talk about whole person, like what does that mean? With subconscious reprogram work, so I'm a hypnotherapist. I'm sure that you said that in the intro. And what I do is help people, empower people to rewire their own minds, to reprogram their subconscious minds, and to regulate their nervous systems because they go hand in hand. But this idea that we are conditioned from such a young age to believe certain things about the world, to believe certain things about what success means, what is, how much money we're meant to make, how much, what does money even mean to us? All of these this conditioning that we're inundated with from the time that we're so little, that's not really truly us. And so when we're able to peel back those layers and sort of start to step into the authentic version of us, and that word is kind of like thrown around a lot, but truly are just like this community is spiritual, correct? Yeah. Spiritual community. So the soul, like what is this? The soul, your soul, devoid of all of that programming and conditioning, really is your whole true self. And so with hypnosis and breath work and subconscious reprogramming techniques, we're really able to, like, again, just release, decondition, rewrite old stories. It's just release so that you can really start to feel like your whole authentic, like worthy self.
Amazing. So can you share with us your backstory, your origin story? Like, how did this evolve to where you're here now?
Yeah. Where do I start? I usually start by saying the little trigger warning, because my journey into and with hypnosis and hypnotherapy did start with mental health issues. I had my own personal, struggles with panic disorder and disordered eating and body image issues, and just some of the traumas of my past really manifested themselves in those things, and panic disorder and disordered eating predominantly. And luckily here in San Diego, we're exposed to so many beautiful holistic and alternative medicine and treatments. But I was on medication and I wanted to get off it. I was in my early 20s. I wanted to get off this medication. I did not feel like myself. And so I started exploring some of these alternative modalities. I tried acupuncture. I tried all of these different things. And while they were all great, none of them really did the job, which the job was I wanted to get off the medication and feel myself again, whatever that means, just really safe finally again and able to experience life without feeling constantly scared of having another panic attack or feeling like I was disassociating and all these different things, sleep issues, all of these different things. And after one single session, one hypnotherapy session, I just literally found hypnotherapy. I don't even know. I was probably just Googling, or I went on Yelp or something like this. I found one of the top rated hypnotherapists here in San Diego. Her name is Christina Higgins. I don't even know if she's still doing this work. And I had one session, and after one session, I was able to get off my medication, and I continued to go to her. I continued to see her. My panic disorder, I no longer have panic disorder. I do experience anxiety here and there, and it's part of being a human, I think, and learning how to integrate trauma. The work is not yet over for me, but I definitely do not have panic disorder anymore. I've never felt more in love with my physical body. I'm finally able to do things like this, to use my voice, to share, to be a leader, to build and to create and to be seen while doing it without feeling like so activated or like I need to hide. And all of this happened by way of discovering hypnotherapy. And so that's really it. After my first session, I became kind of like my first experience with you, Rach. I was like, I'm obsessed. I need to know more. I need to know more. And so I did a deep dive and I started to just kind of learn as much as I could. I got really into manifestation, which manifestation and subconscious work go hand in hand. And I'm very much into grounded, pragmatic modalities and work. And hypnotherapy is one of, it's researched and it's scientifically validated, and so is breath work. And so I had my own personal experience, my own personal positive experience. And then I dove into learning as much as I possibly could. And then I decided to study it. And I remember actually probably, when was this? 2000, I don't even remember what year. It was a few years ago. I was leaving my past relationship, my last relationship, and I started seeing a professional hypnotherapist again. I had taken a little break. He was just using self-hypnosis, and I had taken a little break from going to see a hypnotherapist, a professional. Started seeing her again because I was moving through all this stuff that was coming up as I was looking to leave my relationship, fears of being independent, all of these different things. And I came out of a hypnosis session, a hypnotic trance state, and I remember saying to her, like, you have my dream job. I really want to do this. And I had a clothing shop at the time. And she was like, well, why don't you? And I was like, oh my gosh, I could never. Because again, I was so disconnected from my voice, so scared to use my voice. And as a hypnotherapist, the voice, this is the tool. You're like guiding people by way of verbal communication, verbal direction and instruction and suggestion. And so I was able to use hypnotherapy to become a hypnotherapist, which is like so special to me and so poetic, because without hypnotherapy, I wouldn't be in this position of being able to guide and lead people by way of my voice. So that's my story. That was a little bit lengthy, but thank you for asking.
Of course. No, it's fantastic. So how did, that spark of inspiration and experiencing hypnotherapy come into being, where now you have a physical space and you're doing this full time and all of that? Like, what was that journey like?
The transition, the journey. Yeah. The idea for a deep space came probably 2 years ago in little bits and pieces and chunks. I would just kind of have the moments of, oh my gosh, I know what I'm going to be doing next. I started taking one-on-one clients, mostly virtually. I was seeing some people out of my house, out of my home. I had my former business with the Yoga Bus, which you and I collaborated with a lot within the container of the Yoga Bus. I started incorporating hypnotherapy into the retreats that we were doing because it's just so powerful. When I had this, I don't even know how to articulate it. It's like people use the words download or like intuitive nudge. I don't know, whatever they were. Just these little epiphanies would come, and I'm like, oh, we have to do this. So one of them being, I felt as though hypnotherapy should be subconscious work, whatever kind of subconscious work should be incorporated into retreats, regardless, because you're like going on a retreat and you're having this incredible experience, but then you come home and you're kind of like thrust back into the day-to-day grind without any integration. And when you're able to do this subconscious work, you can experience long-term sustainable change. So we were incorporating hypnosis into our retreats. We were incorporating hypnosis into a weekly class that we called Restore and Transform, which was nervous system regulation, subconscious reprogramming, cacao, movement. It was so beautiful. And so anyway, it just kind of started to grow. And when we decided to close the doors on Yoga Bus, it's like one door closes, all that energy has to go somewhere. And all the energy went straight into a deep space. And it's like it all just came to fruition so quickly and way faster than I ever had imagined. I thought that the brick and mortar space wasn't going to be open until the end of this year. Well, oh my God, like around the end of the year.
Yeah.
And then it just came, and I have this little beautiful studio space now, which you saw, and I'm so excited. We're going to be working together. Rach is going to be doing the interior. And it's really cute, and it's charming, and it's small, and it's the perfect place for intimate community building. And then I know that the second location is going to be even bigger and grander, and we're going to continue to expand and grow. But I don't really know. Like it came and it's not stopping. It's here.
So rad. Yeah. I mean, just you're very inspiring in the way that you see something or you feel something, and then you're able to manifest it very quickly and very fast. And I connect with that as well. I feel like when we get those sparks or we get that thing and it's like, okay, like full blown, we like dive all the way in and make it happen. So it's been neat seeing like your evolutions and all the things that you're bringing forward. And then I feel like I'm like right in there and we're just growing. And it's like, and then to be able to combine what you're doing with what I'm doing again in these collaborative efforts.
I know. It's so, and I feel as though like our journeys are such a mirror, because it feels like with every step that we take, with every new direction that we move into, it's like we're becoming more authentic. Like we are stepping more into what our purpose, if we want to use that word, truly is. And all of the projects that we, worked on in the past, or all of the businesses, whatever we want to call it, anything that we brought to life in the past, it's like a stepping stone or like a foundation, like laid the foundation for Design Coven and for the podcast and for a deep space and hypnotherapy. It's really cool.
Yeah. So I would love for you to kind of share with the designers if you're listening, what does a session look like? And, when do we do it? Like, what does that look like? And, you mentioned like going to a retreat and receiving it, but I feel like this is something that people can integrate into their everyday life to enhance their life, to support them so that they're not going into retreat totally burnt out, crashed, needing to get, recovery and then going right back into the same fire, right?
It's so true. It's so true. The way that I've structured the offerings at A Deep Space is exactly for that reason. So I'll start by kind of describing the process. And I wrote an article for the new, have you announced that, the new zine, the magazine?
Yeah, we're creating a new magazine, Design Coven magazine. And Lindsey is in our first issue, which is all about self-discovery. So yeah, you can talk a bit about all of that.
Awesome. So I did go into a little bit of detail just regarding the process in that article, but hypnosis is just a process that it involves inducing a trance state, and a trance state is a natural state of mind that we all enter multiple times throughout the day, right as we're going to sleep, right as we're waking up, when you're driving your car and you're going from point A and get to point B and you're like, how did I even get here? You were zoned out. That's a trance state. The deep daydreamy state is a trance state. So as a hypnotherapist, I am trained to induce that trance state. And then from there, use hypnotherapeutic techniques to access those deeper parts of the mind, the parts of the mind that are responsible for creating our thoughts and our behaviors, the parts of our mind that hold our belief systems. And from there, we can really rewire, we can reprogram, whatever the verbiage that you want to use. We can change the programs of the mind so that the subconscious mind and the conscious mind are in alignment. So if let's say you're working as an interior designer, a new interior designer, and you're calling in an elevated client base, you're looking to, start, I know that this is what you teach too. We discussed this a little bit beforehand, but there's a lot like to build a luxury brand. But if your subconscious mind is holding on, has any programs that are out of alignment with that. So meaning if you were raised to believe that you are only worthy of a certain amount of money, or if you were raised to believe that, having a lot of money is greedy or things like this, maybe even maybe you're not even consciously aware of it. That's the interesting thing about the conscious versus subconscious. Subconscious meaning like it's under the surface. It's like when you don't have to think to grow the hair from your head. Like you don't have to tell your hair to grow. It's unconscious. So we have these unconscious beliefs that drive the way that we move through life, and that drive the way that we do business, and that drive the way that we interact with other people and interact with ourselves. So anyway, so once we become aware of any block, so we might not even know what the subconscious belief or the subconscious block is, but if we're like, look, I know that I want to make this amount of money a month and I'm just not. I know that I am feeling like an imposter in my space and I don't know why, but I'm feeling like an imposter. Then all that means is that there's some kind of subconscious work that needs to be done. So as a hypnotherapist, I induce the trance state. You're literally like, as a client, you're just lying or sitting on a sofa, getting super comfortable. I love this work because it's like any person can do it. And it's kind of like the lazy person's way to personal development because you can create massive transformation and change by literally just like sitting or lying and receiving this work. So from there, I'll guide you into a, relaxed state, and then use, depending on what the presenting issue is or the desired, goal, the desired result is, we will use different techniques. So maybe timeline work, maybe inner child work, maybe parts therapy, maybe, suggestion therapy. There are all of these different techniques that we can use, visualizations. The subconscious mind communicates by way of symbols and metaphors. And so we'll weave in, symbolic stories and things like this. And then you come up and out of the trance state, you feel just like you took a nap, and then you move through your life feeling different. Your life just reflects those beliefs. It's really quite simple. And to your note, people can incorporate this into their daily lives. Like I think of seeing a hypnotherapist as sort of doing the heavy lifting when you're like, I've been experiencing this fear or this phobia or this disconnection from my voice or these body image issues since I was 10 years old, or I had, this traumatic experience when I was really young. Go see a hypnotherapist. If you're working through, if you've cleaned out the wound in a one-on-one session and now you're looking to reinforce the work, you can really just listen to hypnosis audios. There are tons of free resources. Anyone can reach out to me at any point in time. I have hypnosis audios people can listen to. And you're reprogramming your mind from your own home, literally while like lying in bed. I listen to hypnosis recordings of myself and of other people almost every single morning as just a part of my ritual, because reinforcement is so key in reprogramming the mind. It's like repetition, the way that you learned how to tie your shoes or drive a car. At first, it's like you're constantly having to think about all the different steps, but repeat over and over again, then it becomes automatic. And that's the point. We really want to work with that automatic, like autopilot system. That's what the subconscious mind is. So then you can incorporate into your daily life, or you can see a hypnotherapist, or both, which is what I do. And yes, and so the way that I've structured the offerings at A Deep Space, we host group classes. So for those who need the work at a more accessible price point, they can come experience, group hypnosis and breathwork, the combination, or group hypnosis and sound bath. And really the intention is to reinforce the one-on-one work, or again, it's an accessible offering. And then I also have memberships. So this is really intended to be like, you come in once a month for your monthly hypnotherapy session. And this is like, we're closing all of the tabs on the computer of your mind, giving you a full reset. Anything that you were moving through that month before, we're working on, we're tackling in the session every single month. Then if you're going through something a little bit bigger, again, something that you've been carrying since you were really young, or this block that you just can't seem to move through by way of just one session, then you start a protocol. And I have different protocols. Some of them are 3 weeks, some of them are 6 weeks, some of them are 12 weeks. And that's like the deep dive, intensive work, getting in there. You're listening to recordings at home, you're watching videos, you're coming into either to the studio or doing virtual sessions one-on-one, and like really doing the deep work.
Amazing. I love it. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm like, I need to come in. I need to do a whole thing. Absolutely. And
I'm here whenever you're ready.
I am ready. I'm going to schedule something with you. And for all of you that are here in San Diego or in Southern California, we are doing an event with Lindsey at A Deep Space on May 1st. And we're tackling mindset issues with money, worthiness, and attracting our ideal client. Do you want to share a little bit about what that session's going to look like, and maybe how long? I know we didn't talk about time frame, but I don't know how long like something like that would be. And we're doing it as a group of designers and creatives.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this. So the space is in Kensington. It's again a small studio space. So Rachel and I are collaborating on a group experience. And this will be a group hypnosis and breath work with the intention of reprogramming any limiting mindset, any limiting beliefs that you have around money. So I think as you were telling me, Rach, as an interior designer, it's so important to believe that you're worthy of calling in those, elevated clients, of calling in the money that you deserve, of being able to delegate. And anytime, again, we feel resistant to doing any of those things, or we're not attracting the clients, or we feel like imposters, all we need to do is reprogram the subconscious mind and release anything that we're holding on to that's preventing us from believing in ourselves, really from believing that we're worthy. So our event will be tailored, around and toward into that specific intention. So we'll have a smallish group, I think probably 14
probably around
tickets
there.
available.
Yeah.
For spaces. Rachel pull tarot, and then I will guide you through a hypnosis and a breathwork session, and you'll feel more aligned after. I think also what we should do is I'll probably create, I think this is what I'm going to do. I'm also going to create a subliminal audio recording specifically for anyone who comes to the event, so that you can listen to it during your day-to-day life post session, so you can continue to reinforce. And this work is honestly so magical, and it's not magic. It's so rooted in science, and there's so much proof, but it's magical how things just shift and change and evolve after you experience. So you'll come to the group session on, May 1st now. On May 1st. You'll come to the group session, you'll receive the hypnosis, you'll move through whatever needs to be moved through. And then honestly, you'll start to just notice new opportunities presenting yourself. So maybe during one of the co-working meetups, or, a new experience will just present itself, and you'll have this opportunity to step into these new beliefs that we're installing during the hypnosis session. It's just, it's going to be so good. And then is there anything else that you want to include about Sarah?
I'm going to be pulling cards, and I think what I'll do is, in this realm, maybe I'll pull a card for trying to get some clarity over the block, or what might be blocking you. And then we'll do 2 cards. So we'll do a card about the block, and then we'll do a card of what you're embodying, or what the potential is after the hypnosis, to be able to see something, physical in a card, I think. And that will kind of help those 2 parts of the mind to connect, which is so powerful. And I don't know if you're open to this, but if you wanted, for the magazine, if you wanted to include a QR code to listen to one of your hypnotherapy sessions, or to get them into the mindset as they come into the magazine, or to support them in any way, we'll connect that with your article, and that'll be included in the magazine. And then for pro members, you will have access to this event. And then if we have any open tickets, we will make that available for purchase for anyone that's not in the pro membership. So that will just be a huge benefit in that space. And maybe we share the hypnotherapy, the one that you were talking about afterward, with our virtual members. So the virtual members can also receive something in that space, since they won't be able to make it in person. We've got people kind of all over the world. We've got people in Kenya and Scotland, a lot of people in Australia. So
if you ever want to do a virtual event, we can always do a virtual event too. We can do both. As hypnosis and breath work are both, you can receive from wherever, because this is another thing I love about the work. It's so empowering. I'm not, giving you a pill to take, or giving you a breath. You're using your own breath and your own subconscious mind to do the work. So all I am is a guide. So if you ever wanted to do a virtual event, we could definitely do that.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. So let's talk about doing a virtual one as well. Maybe the month after, or June or July or something. I think would be
I love
really
it.
fantastic. Sweet. So
Okay.
how can people find you? And then do you have any other events and things that you're super excited about that you want to share with us?
Yeah. What do I have coming up? I host hypnotic breathwork class, which is again hypnosis and breathwork combined, every Thursday at 7 p.m. and every Sunday at 10 a.m. at a deep
Okay.
space. And then we host hypnotic sound bath, which is again sound bath, but it's different than any sound bath that I'm sure anyone has ever experienced, because we play a subliminal audio track underneath the sound, underneath the healing, instruments that are used. So a subliminal audio, just in case anyone isn't familiar, is essentially a track of affirmations recorded in which the frequency is taken down, the volume is taken down, and the words are sped up. And this allows the affirmations to penetrate directly the subconscious mind. So you're bypassing the conscious mind, that part of your mind that's like, if you're standing in the mirror telling yourself, I am worthy of manifesting my dream clients, or I am a magnet for money, or I am confident, I am beautiful. You're looking in the mirror telling yourself these affirmations. If your subconscious mind doesn't believe it, your conscious mind is just going to be like, this feels like a lie. I'm blocking these words from entering. But the subliminal, because the conscious mind can't hear, can't perceive the sounds, the subconscious mind is then able to perceive and integrate and absorb and embody those beliefs, those affirmations. And really all of this work, the foundational element, for lack of a better way of saying it, of all of this work is that when your subconscious mind holds on to a belief, it's the responsibility of the mind. It's the mind's job to prove that belief to you. So to create coherence between your internal reality and your external reality, meaning if you have a belief, if you hold on to a belief that, again, I like using the money one, that you are a magnet for money, your mind is going to do anything it can to prove that to you. If you believe you are full, then you're going to go out in your day-to-day life and someone's going to, look at you a certain way and you're going to be like, oh, it's because I'm beautiful. That's the first thought. If you believe that you are not enough, then you're going to go to a networking event and you're going to stumble over your words, and the people around you make a little comment and you're like, oh, I told myself I wasn't enough. Yeah. So the mind will try to prove the beliefs to you. So anyway, the subliminal audio tracks are all affirmations for positive well-being, for healthy, being able to make healthy lifestyle choices, things like this. So hypnotic sound bath, that's every Wednesday and every Friday.
And how do we find you?
Oh, Instagram is great. It's at Lindsey Janelle Living is my personal Instagram, and at adeepspace.co is A Deep Space's Instagram. And then the website is adeepspace.co. There's no M at the end. Those are probably the best places.
Perfect. We'll have all of that in the show notes so we can connect with you there. Thank you, Lindsey, so much. I appreciate you coming on and sharing all this beautiful magic that you're doing in the world, and just supporting other business owners, entrepreneurs, creatives, because we need this in order to keep going and doing what we're doing and supporting, our goal of creating a better space, one space at a time, within our environments and as, whole people. So
I love it. You. I love everything you're doing. I love you. Thank you for inviting me on.
I love you too. Thank you. You've been listening to the Holistic Interior Design Business Podcast. If it's one that you have been enjoying, please share with anyone else that you think can benefit from this knowledge, and leave us a 5-star review that helps us get seen and found by other new and aspiring interior designers. And if you're looking for mentorship, I invite you to join our club here at the Design Coven. It's a bridge between school and real life interior design. We get in much deeper there. We have virtual and in-person events, so everyone is welcome. You don't need to have a design degree to be part of it, just an interest in holistic interior design. I also want to thank our editor, Marcy Ferry, Blake Ferris, for all of her special help with the podcast, our social media posts, newsletter, and lastly, Kinseth Thibodeau, who is our music composer. Until next time, be well, and we will see each other soon.